Alright guys, welcome back. Today we are going to look at installing ArmA mods and getting them running. This tutorial is going to apply to both ArmA 2 and ArmA 3, but I'm going to be demonstrating it for ArmA 3. As you can see here in my games folder, I have 7 ways to start ArmA. I have one ArmA 2 launcher, I have one ArmA 3 launcher, and then I have 5 ArmA 3 shortcuts. What I'm going to show you today is how to set up one of these ArmA 3 shortcuts, and I'm going to give you a link to the launcher, but I'm not going to go over how to get the launcher working. So, first thing we can do is we can take a look at the properties line, and it's too long to fit all in there. So let's open up a new notepad and paste it in there. So, this stuff right here is what we're going to be looking at. The launch parameters, and then separately, put it on its own line, the mod line. Primarily what we're going to be focusing on today is how to set up this mod line, which is -mod equals and then the name of all of your mod folders. And we're going to focus on how to actually set up those mod folders. So first, we're going to go to my ArmA downloads, and some mods already come in a format in which you can just drag them out, like this one for instance. It's the @ folder that you want, and some don't. For example, I thought this one didn't, but apparently it does. But, like I said, some of them don't. However, what I'm going to show you first is how to do this stuff manually and on your own. So let's go to our ArmA 3 folder, and you can see that I've already got a bunch of @ folders in here. These are all my mod folders. And some of them don't work, some of them are tests, a lot of them are junk that I should delete. But we're going to make a new one. So, once you learn how to set up the hierarchy of folders, meaning the @ folder, and then inside the @ folder, the add-ons folder, and then inside the add-ons folder, you actually have your PBOs, you'll never have to worry about installing mods again. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take this, nope, not this one, the NATO-Russian SF pack. Aha, this is the one that I thought I was clicking on earlier. As you can see, it doesn't have an @ folder on the inside. It's not set up to go straight to mod ready. And we're going to make, in our ArmA 3 folder, a new folder, and we're going to call it @NATO weapons. Now this is our mod folder. However, inside this mod folder, we want a second folder called add-ons. The file type that goes in the add-ons folder, you'll have to dig through all the mods, but you'll eventually find it, and they're usually set up in a structured manner. So you go into the zip, or however, the 7-zip, whatever it is, and you find the add-ons folder, and the files that you want are the PBOs. We'll go over the buy signs in a little bit. So I take the PBOs, unzip them, and now these NATO weapons are in a mod format that is ready to use as long as you connect to a server that does not enforce keys. I personally don't play on any servers that enforce keys, so it's not an issue for me. We'll go over it right now. If you play on a server that enforces keys or signs, you have to use the keys folder. Actually, I think the keys folder is only for the server itself, but you have to have the buy signs. What the buy signs are essentially to make sure you're not hacking. So if you're installing a mod specifically to play on a server that allows just that mod specifically, you have to take those buy sign files as well. So that's it. Now you know how to set up a mod folder. Now, if you look, the PBOs from this zip file, the US rifle, mass US rifle, and mass US rifle _C, I already have in another folder with a lot of other add-ons. You don't have to install all your add-ons into their own folder. Basically, I have all of my add-ons installed in packs. So you can see that mod right here. And for those of you always asking what mods I use, here they all are. Alright, so now that we've got the mod folder and the mod folder's hierarchy set up, we need to actually edit the ArmA executable in order to launch the mod when you launch the game. Now there are multiple ways to do this. You can do it through Steam, you can do it through launchers, but I'm going to show you pretty much the hardest manual way to do it. That way, whenever you have to do it in the future, you'll always know how to revert back to the base way to do this. So what you want to do is you want to create a shortcut for your ArmA 3 executable, and you can rename the shortcut anything. Since we are going to be doing just the NATO weapons pack, we'll name it ArmA 3 NATO weapons. And now we're going to modify the properties. So now all it does is it launches ArmA 3. And as I showed earlier, over here there are optional parameters. No splash means you won't see the splash screens at the beginning. CPU count. X threads. I don't really know how to explain how X threads works. High means the game is given high priority. Maximum is how much RAM you have. No logs is supposed to decrease the stuttering, but it also doesn't do your RPT file, if you know what the RPT file is, which can be bad if you're having problems with the game. However, what we're focusing on is the mods. So the parameter you add to start mods under the target line in the shortcut is -mod equals. And then after that, you do your mods. So in this case, it's at, I messed something up, didn't I? Let's see. No, I didn't. Okay. Put an underscore in there. Make sure you don't have spaces in your mod lines. So as you can see, all of these mods, none of them have spaces. They all have underscores instead. So what we want is -mod equals at NATO _weapons. And hit apply. And OK. And now you're done. You have a working, let's see if we can get back to our ArmA folder. You have a working executable that's going to start ArmA with the mod we just installed. Now, what I'll do is I'll show you how to put extra mods in there. So let's say we want the recoil reduction mod, which is simply for me at recoil. So I'm going to go back in here, and I want to add a second mod at the end. Simply, all you do is you have -mod equals, and then at your first mod with a semicolon, no space, at recoil, and that's your second mod. Say I want to add another mod in there. It's semicolon with no space, and we'll put CBA in there. Well, CBA 3. So it's at CBA _A3. So now I have an ArmA 3 executable that's going to launch these 3 mods when I launch it. But I also don't want to see the splash screen when we start, so I'll do no splash. Now, you're going to want to look up the launch parameters. No splash, CPU count, X threads, high, maximum, and no logs. Those are the ones I use. Most launchers will let you specify those parameters just with checkboxes, but I will link the BI Wiki parameters page so you guys can look that stuff up on your own and figure out what they all do. But at this point, you should know how to not only install a mod into your ArmA folder, which is your at folder, at NATO weapons, and then set the hierarchy up properly, which is an add-ons folder inside that folder, and then the PBO files, which are the actual mod itself, and then the by signs only used if you connect to a server that enforces the keys. And as you can see in my other folders, I don't have any by signs. I don't connect to any servers that don't allow mods. And if I do, they don't allow any mods, so I just launch ArmA clean. And let's see if we went over everything. File hierarchy, yes. Necessary and non-necessary files, yes. Oh, well, there are more non-necessary files a lot of the times in mod folders. So let's open this back up. As you can see, there are a couple of text files in here. Class list is mostly for modders. If you watch my editor tutorials, you'll know that you need class names. And then this is pretty much the README. Guys, always read the README. It's frustrating to no end putting something out and answering all the questions that people ask all the time, and then they never read it, and then they ask you the question anyways. Just like in my video descriptions. Even if you think you know everything the mod does, read the README before you start messing with it, and especially read the README if you start having problems with it. But those are files that don't have to go into the add-ons folder. And here's another example. I actually don't even know what the mod CPP and mod PAA do, but I do know that this mod, the Canadian Armed Forces mod, works with none of these. All I need is these PBOs. Don't even need the by signs. So almost every time I install a mod, I skip everything else and I go straight into the add-ons folder provided with the mod, and I put all the PBOs in the appropriate places. And I'm sure someone will tell us in the comments what the mod PAA and mod CPP do. Keys explanation, I explained those. You need keys in order to connect to servers that only allow certain mods. Command line setup, we went over that. Additional parameters, we went over that. And launchers. The last thing we'll do before the tutorial is over, this is the ArmA 3 launcher that I use. It also works for ArmA 2. Let's see, I've got it up here already. And this is what it looks like. When you first install it, it'll ask you for the path to your ArmA 3 and the path to your ArmA 2. And you just click on the picture itself to switch between the two. I currently only use it for ArmA 3. And I actually only use it for All in ArmA because the All in ArmA command line is so long that I cannot use it otherwise. And as you can see, the URL for this website is basestation12.net/head. And it's got a lot of information on here. It's even got a video, and the download link is down the bottom. So this concludes the add-on installation tutorial. I hope you guys are now comfortable with your add-on hierarchy and how to get your add-ons started. And if you're not, and if I skipped anything, then go ahead and ask in the comments. However, if your question is already answered in the video description, I'm not going to answer. Hope you guys learned something today, and as usual, thanks for watching. One down upstairs. Oh!